110 game was good, man. I'm back with another letter. We're gonna call this one Letters to the Dropouts. That's what we're gonna call this one. Check this out. So y'all know by now that I grew up in Fairfield, you know what I'm saying? And when I was a kid, this was the elementary school that I came to. Everybody else had to do 5 years here. I did 6. Yeah, see, I grew up in a household where there was a lot of drinking, a lot of fighting. You know, sometimes the fights used to be so bad, me and my sister used to see blood everywhere on the ground, on the floor and shit. And then we used to see, you know what I'm saying, we used to see Floyd get hauled off by the police and shit. But what I know now, what fucked us up was that he used to always come back like a couple days later. Nobody like set me and my sister down and was like, yo, this is not how it's supposed to go. You know, we're sorry you guys had to see this. You know what I'm saying? It was just like business as usual. You put a kid in that kind of atmosphere, especially back in those days, there's no telling how he would respond to that, being that, you know, being a single digit kid, you know, 8, 9, he don't really know how to express his feelings. What got in my way was my attitude. If anybody know me personally, then they could tell you that I always been the type to wear my emotions on my sleeves type shit. And now that I've been going to therapy and journaling and working on myself this last year, I understand where all that come from. You see, it came from the environment that I was in. The environment that I was in was toxic, and nobody knew how to communicate that wasn't normal. But when you're growing up in situations like that and everybody around you is chaotic and toxic, there's no one around you to say, man, this shit ain't normal. So when it came to school, I didn't do good. You know, I was always in trouble. I was always in here and after school, you know, detention. You know, I think one time I got mad at the teacher and I threw a chair, some shit like that. And third grade came around and it was time for us to get out for the summer. And they called my mother to the school and they wanted to let her know, like, look, his grades are okay, but we're afraid that if we move him on to the 4th grade, that his attitude is gonna get worse and he's gonna continue to do some of the same things that he was doing. Now, if you guys listen to my podcast, you will know that me and my mother's relationship is blossomed now. My mother's now a year clean, sober. I put her in rehab last year and she was able to get herself clean. She's back in her own place. You know, she's back in church. She's back taking care of herself. You know, and that's because I planted that seed a year ago. And because of my mother's mental condition, I was able to afford grace on how things went in my childhood. So I'm just telling this story from a place of how I was during that time. So when they called my mother up to the school to have this meeting with her to figure out if they was gonna move me to the 4th grade or not, my mother told him straight up, well, he gonna learn one way or another. So go ahead and hold his ass back and let him learn the hard way. And you see, there was a choice that was made that came back to haunt me years later. You see, here's what I've learned throughout my time of healing. Understand that the choices you make affect the people around you. Whether that decision is good or bad, everybody around you is going to be called to the consequences of that choice. And that choice that my mother made is an example of that. So nonetheless, man, they held me back 3rd grade, but only thing that I need to work on was my attitude. And that's what I did, you know, and I ended up graduating 5th grade, but this decision to hold me back in 3rd grade will come back to haunt me. And I'll tell you why. You see, what I learned about life is this, man. Sometimes we don't really think ahead. You know, we don't think about our situations right there in the moment. And because I found stoicism, I'm able to pause in moments of confrontation and think about what I'm gonna do next, because I could easily make a permanent decision based on temporary emotions, and that's something that I don't want for myself or my kids. So I try to make sure that I think everything through so that it don't affect them, because remember, the decisions that we make affect the people around us. So now I graduate 5th grade, you know what I'm saying? Then I go on to Mosley Middle School, I do good there, you know what I'm saying? And then I come to Kennedy. They got it Armstrong now, but it used to be Kennedy when I was going there. In fact, my class is the last class of John F. Kennedy, class of 04. So if y'all remember from A Letter to Fairfield, then y'all know that in 9th grade, I bullshitted. You know what I'm saying? I ain't really take class serious. It was way more freedom, and it was way more girls, and it was way more distraction. So I found myself wanting to be an adult when I was still a kid. So some of my choices and my actions and decisions that I made was based on the fact that I was still a kid up here. I get here, and then they implement SOLs. It's starting to make sense now? See, I got held back in 3rd grade. So if I wouldn't have got held back in 3rd grade, then I would have graduated in 2003 and I would have skipped that whole SOL shit. Man, SOLs came around, man. I had all my credits, man, but I couldn't pass one SOL because I sucked at testing because I wasn't doing no studying. I was just getting by in school. So 12th grade with all my credits, man, I had to drop out. It always dawned on me in the back of my mind, I'll go back and get my shit. But you see, I had so much to do before I can get there, though. You know, I had to fix a whole lot of things inside. I had to get my mind right. I had to raise my kids. You know what I'm saying? I had to get my finances in order. I had to get my credit straight. You know what I'm saying? I had to do a whole lot of work before I could get here. My mother needed me. She needed me, gang. You know, my sister died in 2020, man. Rest in peace, Kim. But my mother, she needed me. And I didn't know how much my mother needed me until I was called to be of service for her. And like I told y'all, I got my mother clean, man. Well, I planted the seed. She did the work. Her and God did the work. I planted the seed. And that seed turned into a tree. That little mustard seed, it turned into a tree. And my mother is better today. And our relationship is better today. So now that the storm is over, and now that I'm in a better place in life, I've cut the toxicity out. Now, I figure when you go on a journey of healing, sometimes it requires you to go back to your old self and patch up some old wounds. So like I said, man, just letters for the dropouts, man. I start school next week, and I'm going back to get my GED, man. That's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to do it not only for myself, but I'm going to do it for my kids. I'm going to show my kids what it's like to never give up on yourself. I'm going to do it for my kids, and I'm going to show them to always reach back to your old self and fix those parts that you had to leave behind in order to go and journey on through life. I'm going to show my kids resilience. I'm going to show my kids to never, ever give up on themselves. Don't worry. Just work.